Stay tuned for more regional coverage from the local traveler. But first, here is Amber Canoy with how to go local in Lexington.
Well, we are going local here in Lexington at Springhouse Gardens with Richard Weber, talking about pines because it's winter and I feel like pines get their moment to shine, well, when everything else is kind of subdued.
That's right.
And not got their foliage out. So we're talking about a particular type of pine, a white pine, right?
That's right. This is an eastern white pine, which is a native Kentucky tree, native mostly to eastern Kentucky.
Okay.
But it does well here in central Kentucky if you give it the right conditions, which means well-drained soils,
Okay.
not a lot of heavy clay, and try to protect it from some of the ice and snow that you get, which is really hard when you have a tree that gets 100 feet tall. So that is one of the reasons why you see a lot of storm damage on these particular trees. But if you know that going into it, it's still a great tree for large areas. You wouldn't want to use this in a small yard, but for large areas where you can let them grow and spread, they're a good choice.
Right. Well, if they do get some storm damage, the beauty of the fact is that they grow so rapidly. It's not like you're going to have to wait years and years to get that height maybe back and everything.
That's right.
And this particular area is been built up, right?
Right. We did that to just provide better drainage because we have some pretty heavy clay soils here that tend to hold a lot more moisture than a white pine would like. So we built this up and planted a lot of pines in here just to try to create more of a grove effect and to also screen off a service area that we didn't really want to look at from our office and our gardens.
Well, that's a perfect point there. Maybe if you've got something you want to hide in your yard, you might want to plant a few white pines.
That's right.
Now we see a lot of pine needles. Now some people might think this is a problem.
Yeah, but not me and not most people who have been gardening for a while, because pine needles are one of the best mulches that you can get. We actually sell pine needles, believe it or not.
Wow.
For those people who don't have their own source of pine trees. It's a great, more acidic type of mulch, so it's wonderful for mulching rhododendrons, azaleas, hollies, dogwoods, anything that likes a little bit more acidity. But we've got our natural source here. Just let the pine needles fall where they are. So
now, how can you tell how old a pine tree is?
That's a good question. Well, you can always cut it down
We don't want to do
and
that.
count the rings.
Yeah,
but a better way, the better way is actually counting between the rung of branches. So from every, you'll see a straight part of the trunk and then a ring of branches.
Okay.
In between each ring of branches was 1 year's worth of growth.
Wow, so this one particularly behind us had 1 year that
It just shot up there 4 to 5 feet, and that was a very good moist year. Had lots of rain without having too much rain to slow a tree down. So that's the way you can tell on pines, because they'll just grow one new layer of branches each year.
All right, well, let's tell people how to get a hold of you.
You can find us online at springhousegardens.com or give us a call at 224-1417. That's our garden center number, and our landscape office is 224-0033.
Coming up, learn how to go local where you live.